Hello, English 1301 students. This is day number 4 in your research effort. I want to talk to you in day 4 about evaluating your sources. Hopefully you found a number of sources and you're well on your way to turning those into summary, note cards, paraphrase note cards, and direct quotation note cards. But let's talk about evaluating these sources. The first thing you need to do is to determine how a source will contribute to the writing. In other words, you've got a research question going. How does any particular source, the first thing to ask yourself, will this fit into my research question? Does it answer something in particular that I'm looking into? Select sources worth the time and effort to read them. If it's a 12-volume work, chances are you're not going to have that much time to devote to plugging all the way through 12 volumes for a one-sentence direct quotation. So you need to fine-tune that and not get sources that are beyond the scope of what you're doing. And then you can scan, when you're doing in Invesco, you can scan the list and check, go down the left-hand side, there are boxes. Check the ones you want to look at in a little more detail. And then spend a few minutes going through those lists to find sources that you really do think are worth the time, worth your time to read them all the way through. And then with those sources, email them to yourself. Most of the databases, such as Invesco, list at least the following information for each one of the sources: the title and a brief description or an abstract of it, the date, which will tell you how current the source is, the name of the periodical that it came from, and how often that periodical is published, and further the length of the work itself. So if you will email it to yourself after checking full text article, then you will have in your inbox the entire article, be it 5 pages long or 38 pages long. You'll have the whole thing and you'll be able to work with it as you go along. You'll have access to the entire thing as you're going along. Now, to determine if a work is scholarly, the easiest way to do that is to check the box that says scholarly peer-reviewed journaled article and let the database make that judgment for you based upon their information about that journal. And so there are some other hints, other ways to evaluate sources to see if they're scholarly. And here they are, straight out of Rules for Writers on page 401. If you want to know where the list comes from, it's your own textbook. A very good place for you to look for advice on doing this research project. But an academic writing will have formal language. The language will be formal, and the presentation of the language will be formal. It'll be an actual essay with an introduction and a body of paragraphs, topic paragraphs, and a conclusion. And secondly, the authors will be academics, and or they could be scientists, but they're not journalists. These are not opinion pieces. You're not reading an overview or someone's op-ed. It's not a letter to the editor where someone is just pontificating about their impression or their idea. You're reading actual academic writing from somebody in that discipline. There will usually be an extensive bibliography, works cited, or there will be endnotes or footnotes, and that will be another clue. It will be original research, and it will be interpretation rather than simply being a summary of what someone else has done. There will be a creative and originality to the work. And then questions from and analysis of primary sources will be in the humanities disciplines such as literature that we're doing, history or philosophy, and a description of research methods of a review of related research on the sciences and in the social sciences. So those different criteria would be present if you're looking at academic writing. If, however, you're looking at something that pops up on a general search from Google or maybe even Dogpile or another meta search engine, and the site, the spelling is incorrect, the grammar is a little iffy, the person seems very emotional about their position, not many examples are given, no sources are cited, you are probably most likely not looking at an academic source. So you, of course, can search in newspapers in our 2 links for our newspaper articles on our database, and of course in the government sites, the .gov sites. Surely these are accurate and reliable. And then you can look in, of course, in the college library card catalog and find bound books. They're still on the shelves at the Lee Davis Library. And you always have the help of the research librarian. So I hope these are a few helps for you as you learn to evaluate sources day 4 of your research project. Keep at it. I know you're off to a good start.